Okay, we're ready.
Hey everyone, this is David and Kathryn. We're going to do a little tech talk on our most recent release for the app.
Okay, so here's some changes that we've made. The completed routes thing that you're seeing there, the second menu item, that was actually introduced on the last release, so that's not new. But what is new is some stuff that we've done in routes. So go ahead and click Start Work. Alright, so we've completely changed the layout of this screen. We got a lot of feedback from different drivers and whatnot that were saying it was too many clicks to do anything. They liked the old driver portal better because it was easier to use. So let's just start at the top here. So at the very top you can see that we collapsed the map. Instead of it taking up so much of the screen, it's now just a little green button over there. So go ahead and click that, Kathryn, the route map. So it still works the same. It pulls up a map. You can page through the customer list down at the bottom. There is a known issue. Go back there for a minute. On a really big list, just because of the technology we're using, if you click on Fred right there, if you click on their name,
Oh,
it doesn't always take you directly to the customer, so just be aware of that. We're not sure how many of our drivers are actually even using that. Below that, I don't know if everyone knows, but that little I, see where it says 4 of 16 remaining, click that little I next to it. All that tells you is just how many tickets there are and how many first time services there are. So that's what that's for. So you can hit OK. Alright, what's new on this one is this sort button. So click that sort over there. So what this does, this is kind of a tool that lets two drivers work the route. One can start at the top, one can start at the bottom. So for example, if I was at the bottom, I can sort this so that Larry Lawson here, number 16, I'm working from basically the bottom up. And then click the sort again. And then Jane Tarzan, she's at the top. So this lets two drivers work off the list at the same time. And the nice thing about this now is it behaves more like the old driver portal. So if you scroll up, Kathryn, let me show you what I mean. So we're going to service Fred. So go ahead and do Fred. And hang on, go back there. Before you service him, I just want you to see, so who's above him? Jane Tarzan's above, right? And then
okay.
scroll down, who's below him? Philly Alexander. So prior to this release, what would happen is when you service Fred, the list would reload and Jane would it would go scroll clear to the top again. So we fixed it so that it just stays where it is, so you don't have to do all these scrolling. Okay, go ahead and service that and let's see, make sure that works. Okay, so you see that Philly Alexander now comes in. And this works for everything. It works for automatic notifications, everything. So it just should keep working the way it's been working. Okay, you can see the button bar here. There's the little airplane. So that one's the en route, the manual en route notification. So I don't know if all of our customers even have this enabled, but it's just a way of telling the next customer on the list manually that you're coming. So in this case, the next customer was Philly Alexander. So you're telling him that same en route functionality, like we just explained before, can be automated so that your driver doesn't even have to do anything. It just automatically tells the next customer on the list that you're coming. Those two buttons there, the globe and the home, are two ways of getting to the address. The globe goes by geocoding and the house goes by address. So hopefully between the two you can find the customer. The red one with the arrow with the stop sign, that's the skip. And you'll notice that both on the skip and on the completed, we've added the picture taking functionality to this dialog. So now when you take a picture, you're taking it as part of completing the service or skipping the service. And you can take as many pictures as you want there. So that's picture taking. You want to demonstrate that, Kathryn? Take a picture of your computer. Okay. And then that picture, you can see it shows up down below right there. And then you just hit complete like normal. And those pictures will go up to the customer record. Okay, the next button over is the I for information. That takes you, automatically logs you into iRoutes and drops you in on the customer record. So if you ever need to get to the customer record. Now, not all drivers have access to this. They have to have customer permission. You set that up in the admin before, or they don't see that I button. Okay, so that's kind of for a one-man band. Those next two are just like before. One is the send a text message to the customer, and the other is to call the customer. And then that edit icon is for editing the trash, the services. So in this case, it's trash can. So you can edit serial number information down below and save those. We'll be doing some work on that on the next release, where you can actually, if you don't have anything on the list below, you can add it. Okay, go back to your routes list. Okay, so that's the whole button bar. Did we get all the buttons? Was that the last one? That was. Okay. All right, some other things. So you got the address there, and you'll notice that the font size is a little bit bigger. I don't know about the drivers, but I guess I'm going blind. What we had before was too small. So we've also added the geo-accuracy, so the driver can look at that and say, you know, if the geo-accuracy is intersection, they'll want to drop a pin because they can get it better standing on the driveway of the customer. And then the pickup day, if there was a time, that'll also display the time, contact, phone number. And then the services down below, we used to have the quantity inside the trash, or inside of like a blue circle, and that was hard to read. So now the quantity is there. So for example, you've got 2 monthly and 3 monthly on this one. And then whatever driver notes there are will show up there, and then the descriptions down below. Okay, so there's probably some stuff you're missing here, Kathryn. Scroll down a little bit. There's some functionality. Okay, like this one, blah, source blah. So there's some settings you can set in iRoute to display other information here on the app. So that one is one of them. The source is where the customer came from. And not all customers have a source. But for example, if you just bought one of your competitors and you label them as, you know, whatever that company name you bought, your driver would be able to see the source here just for informational purposes. And you can turn that on or off globally. Then to the right, that white space there that you're not seeing, there's another setting where you can turn on the balance. So some customers like this. They want their drivers to see the balance, so they can go knock on the door and say, hey, you owe money. Or some drivers might, or some customers might not want their drivers to see the information. So again, that's configurable. But again, for a one-man band, that's handy for them to be able to say, oh, this customer is way past due. I better, you know, before I even drive the 5 miles to service the customer, I probably want to call them and see if we can get an updated card. So that's what that's all about.
I have that set up. I just don't know if anybody has a balance.
Yeah, there's different configurations on that balance. You can show it. You can show it only if there is a balance. There's different settings, so I'm not sure which setting you're encountering.
I probably just don't have balances.
Okay. And then if you click the completed tab, you can see the ones that have been completed for this. So you have 0 completed on that route, but do you have any others?
I think I finished that one route.
Okay. go back there. So the other thing is, you notice down at the bottom we changed some stuff. We got rid of some icons and collapsed them. So you still have the stop route icon. That's the one with the circle slash. And then to the right of that, click the gear. So you can change truck. You can view the notes for the day. You can send notice. This send notice is a global send notice, and it actually doesn't work on stage intentionally. We don't want to send a bunch of notices from stage. That send notice probably isn't used that much, but it's a way for the driver, if he's running late, to send a text message to all customers saying, "Hey, I'm coming still." And then resource, if you're set up to record resources as part of your profit and loss, it'll show up in the operation statement. I'm not sure how many people know about that. Click that one, Kathryn. So this is where you just choose a type of resource, and you can set these up in the admin tool, what your resource is. And you can just fill all this out and optionally attach a receipt to the resource. So for example, if you got gas or something, you can attach the receipt for that. And then these will show up in the operation statement. They also show up in iLedger, but iLedger currently isn't being used by anyone. It's a different app. All right.